and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into, well, a real mix of professional mess-ups and some very intense family drama.
That's right. Our sources paint this incredibly detailed picture. You've got a community, a big family business, and they're just struggling on several fronts at once.
Yeah, it's like a pressure picker. We're looking at everything from reputation management nightmares to staff dynamics and this really high-stakes crisis over who takes over the family farm.
Exactly. It's a snapshot of serious friction, failed events, big arguments about how to fix things, and these huge life-changing decisions about retirement and, well, coming home.
So our mission today, we want to unpack three main areas of stress you can see in this material.
Yep. First, the huge fallout from a public event that went disastrously wrong. Second, a pretty radical plan to try and boost team morale.
And third, this really emotional battle over the family farm management, retirement, the works.
It's a lot to cover. Let's dive in, starting with that spectacular failure that seems to have everyone buzzing.
Okay, yeah, we have to start with the flower and produce show. It was supposed to be this great thing for Grey Gables, you know, build some goodwill.
But instead, total disaster. The sources say the whole village is tutting, which tells you something.
It does. So what exactly happened? The details are kind of wild.
They really are. The absolute core of it was this toxic courgette. Apparently, it almost put the vicar in the hospital.
A toxic courgette.
Right.
That takes it from just a bad event to, well, something else entirely. A massive liability.
Instantly. And the gossip just exploded. We hear Brian Aldrich was going around publicly accusing Grey Gables of, get this, trying to murder the vicar.
Wow. Okay, so that's not just bad PR. That's, yeah, brand assassination with a vegetable.
Pretty much. And it didn't stop there. The sources mention other things that just piled on the humiliation. Jessica's mom's dahlias wilted.
Oh, dear.
And then Derek Fletcher won an award for an obscenely shaked bell pepper. So now the show's legacy is basically defined by near-death experiences and inappropriate vegetables.
The whole thing got badly tarnished, as the source puts it. That damage feels pretty deep.
Definitely. So the question becomes, how do the managers Oliver and Dane plan to clean up this mess? Because they seem to have very different ideas.
Right. Completely opposing views, it sounds like. What's Oliver's take?
Oliver's approach is, well, it's almost hands-off, avoidance maybe. His line is essentially, the damage is done. We tried to fix it once, nobody showed up, so let's just put the whole thing behind us, let time be a healer, and move on.
Okay, sometimes that don't fan the flames approach is sensible, keep it low-key. But why is Dane so strongly against that here?
Because I think Dane sees that the crisis isn't contained. Oliver's strategy might work if it was a smaller incident, maybe. But Dane argues they absolutely must do something proactive.
Why? Because their first attempt failed so badly.
Exactly. That attempt to sort of get the village back on side, zero attendance. So if they just retreat now, Dane feels like they're basically admitting defeat. The show's reputation stays ruined. They need something active, a distraction maybe, to change the story.
Okay, and that need for, maybe, a distraction. It leads us nicely into the second big stress point. What's going on inside Grey Gables?
Yeah, the flower show disaster might have been triggered by a dodgy courgette, but the material suggests deeper internal problems were maybe the real cause, systemic issues.
And Lily points this out, right? She sees a connection.
She does. Her observation is critical. She says mistakes happen because departments don't really get what other departments do. There's a lack of communication, a lack of understanding across the teams, operational empathy, you could call it.
Which led to this initial crazy idea of a literal job swap. I'm picturing Mick from maintenance trying to run the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously impractical. But the idea behind it, getting people to walk in each other's shoes that survived, and it turned into the shadowing solution.
Right, staff shadowing each other. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But how does that connect back to the flower show fallout and morale?
Well, just telling people, okay, now you have to go shadow someone, could feel a bit like homework or even punishment, especially when morale is already low after the show disaster.
Sure.
So this is where Dane comes in with his, let's call it, radical twist. He doesn't just want it shadowing for efficiency. He wants to make it fun. a morale booster.
Okay, how?
Instead of strategically matching roles, kitchen shadows, front desk, because that makes operational sense, Dane wants to make the pairings totally random, like a lottery.
A lottery, seriously.
Yep. He suggests using a football draw or a bingo machine. The idea is the randomness itself, the sort of unexpectedness, will make it fun, force people to engage and lift spirits.
So you'd have, what, sales shadowing the maintenance team? Yeah. Housekeeping shadowing the gardeners?
Exactly. Finance shadowing Zanab on the front desk. It forces people out of their usual bubbles in a really memorable, maybe even slightly chaotic way.
It's certainly bold. But hang on. If the goal is genuinely operational empathy, understanding how other roles work,
yeah,
there's a catch here, isn't there?
What are you thinking of?
The sources explicitly say the managers, Oliver and Dane, are exempting themselves. Their reason. They already know everyone's job.
Ah, yes. That detail.
Doesn't that just completely undermine the whole exercise? If the leaders aren't willing to participate, doesn't it send a message?
That is a really sharp point. You have to ask, are they really trying to fix the culture or just manage the optics? If leadership isn't seen to be part of the solution, part of understanding that operational friction,
the staff will notice.
Absolutely. It looks like they're avoiding the very thing they're asking everyone else to do. It smacks of do as I say, not as I do. That failure of leadership empathy exempting themselves. It's a critical insight, I think.
And that idea of leadership failure, maybe a disconnect from the ground level, takes us straight from Grey Gables to home farm. The third major stress area, the succession crisis.
Yeah, this is where the pressure feels incredibly personal, maybe even life or death. It all centers on Brian, the father, and the farm. Rory's back from London, and he's really pushing the retirement issue.
And it's not just about business strategy for Rory, is it? It's very much about his dad's health.
Precisely. Brian's about to turn 82. He has angina. Rory is genuinely terrified that the stress of running the farm, especially with things going wrong, could actually trigger a heart attack.
So this isn't just time to hand over the reins, it's, Dad, you need to stop before this kills you.
That seems to be the core motivation. But Rory also uses Brian's past decisions to build his case for change. The sources mention him reneging on the BL contract sounds like a big financial blunder.
And also forcing his daughter, Stella, out of the business. That points to difficult relationships too.
Right. Examples of maybe poor judgment under pressure or just damaging ways of handling things. Rory argues change has to happen. He points out Brian and Adam are already banging heads. They just can't work together long term, apparently.
So what's Rory's solution? How does he see this playing out?
He proposes what sounds like a kind of diplomatic coup. A 3-person management team. Himself, Adam, and Stella.
Bringing Stella back?
Yeah. He thinks this united front, this team, would give Brian the reassurance he needs to actually step back. The idea is to surround Brian with people he trusts, so retirement doesn't feel like being pushed out into the cold.
We feel safe for him to let go.
Exactly. And Rory thinks this team, the 3 of them, could smash it, really turn the farm around.
Okay, ambitious. But what happens when he actually talks to Stella about coming back?
Well, Stella's reaction is really telling. It reveals a lot about dealing with leaders who maybe won't let go.
She understands Rory's position, though, right?
Oh, completely. She's very empathetic.
Yeah.
She apparently says Brian reminds her of her own father, and she regrets that her dad never retired, so she gets the personal cost of holding on too long.
But she still says no.
She still says no, despite understanding it all. Her reasoning is purely pragmatic, based on her assessment of Brian.
What does she say?
She flat out states Brian will never retire. Full stop. So for her, returning would be pointless. The proposed 3-person team is meaningless if Brian doesn't actually yield control.
So she sees it as an impossible situation.
Pretty much. Plus, she's moving on herself. She mentions having a job interview lined up for Friday. She's looking forward, not back.
Wow. So Stella's out. But Rory, he's still committed, even without her.
Absolutely. He makes it clear he's back for good. He says London was a disappointment. He missed home. He's staying, whether his dad retires right now or not.
And how does he justify taking a role, potentially a leading role, when he admits he doesn't have much practical farming experience?
That's a key point. He acknowledges the gap in his farming knowledge, but he argues 2 things. 1, farming is in his blood, that deep connection. And 2, more practically, his business degree and his year working in the city give him a good business brain.
So he thinks modern management skills are what the farm needs now. maybe more than traditional farming know-how.
That seems to be his bet. He believes he brings the strategic thinking, the financial understanding that's crucial for the future. It's a classic tension, tradition versus modern business practice.
It really is.
Yes.
And it highlights that conflict we see running through this whole thing. Professional ambition versus that pull of belonging, of home.
Definitely. But while Rory's trying to manage this huge family and business situation, the stress is clearly taking a toll elsewhere. We see that with Alice.
Right, the sources mentioned she's really struggling.
Yeah, the cognitive load seems immense. She's described as really upset, flipping out even, about George Grundy getting released from prison and his fiancée planning this big welcome home party.
And that stress had real-world consequences.
It did. It was so overwhelming, she actually forgot to pick up Martha from school. That's a clear sign of just how much emotional energy this whole situation is consuming.
And then, in a slightly bizarre twist, who steps in to handle the school run?
Brian, the very person at the center of the farm succession crisis. And the source notes he rather likes being notorious on the playground.
What do you make of that little detail?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Maybe it shows his need for attention, for drama. Perhaps it's part of why he finds it so hard to let go of managing the farm. It keeps him relevant, keeps him in the spotlight, even a notorious one.
A momentary escape from being seen as just the frail old man, perhaps.
Could it be a little ego boost? But speaking of escapes, there's a much bigger, more organized one being planned.
Ah, the ultimate avoidance strategy, Grand's big plan.
Yes. The family holiday, it sounds absolutely epic, like a strategic retreat from all the conflict.
Where are they planning to go?
Gren's organizing a trip to a Scottish castle, described as a mini Balmoral. Sleeps 20 apparently, with extra cottages on the grounds.
Wow, that's quite the escape.
And it comes with a full package of distractions. A cinema, a games room with snooker, hunting, fishing, amazing countryside, even their own flock of sheep, which Martha will supposedly love.
So, a total change of scene. And there are people on board.
Seems like it. Kate and Adam are already up for it. This isn't just a break. It feels like a deliberate attempt to physically remove everyone from the environment where all this tension is happening. Hit the reset button somewhere beautiful and distracting.
Okay, so pulling it all together then, what does this deep dive really show us?
Well, looking at the big picture, you see this community, this family just wrestling with how to balance professional pressures, like fixing that PR disaster, with these incredibly deep personal issues, health, family loyalty, succession.
And we saw different leadership approaches clashing, didn't we? Oliver's cautious wait and see versus Dane's more radical, maybe even slightly desperate, let's throw a party with a bingo machine approach.
Exactly. And the leadership failures too. Managers exempting themselves, Brian refusing to step down. That holiday plan, in a way, it feels like an admission that maybe they can't solve these conflicts head on right now. They need that external reset.
It's complex stuff. Trying to figure out the best path to recovery, to better morale. Is it careful planning or is it radical fun? They seem torn.
But for me, the central conflict, the one that really resonates, is Rory's decision. He's giving up a potentially successful London career, all that might entail. Why? Because the farm is home.
That really is the core question, isn't
I think
it?
so. It makes you wonder, for any of us facing huge pressure, both at work and personally, what's the ultimate motivator when we choose our path forward? Is it really about climbing the professional ladder, achieving that kind of success?
Or is it something deeper?
Or is it that fundamental human need to feel like you belong? That powerful pull towards being exactly where you feel you're truly meant to be? That's definitely something to think about long after this deep dive is over.
So, what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So, what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the archers. Any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep. That's,
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the bull bar. That's,
This one.
yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline. I mean,
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever